Have you ever heard someone say something that sounds completely logical, but actually makes no sense? For example, if it rains, the road gets wet. The road is wet, so it must have rained. Sounds perfectly correct, but what if someone washed the road? This is exactly why logical reasoning exams like UGC Net Paper 1 are so tricky. They intentionally exploit our everyday assumptions to set logical traps. Today, I'm going to show you how to decode arguments by living past the words. We are going to learn a simple 3-step verification checklist to tear apart any argument and see exactly how it works. Because to pass these exams, you have to stop worrying about the actual facts of what someone is saying and start paying attention strictly to the hidden structure of how they are saying it. First, let's establish what an argument actually is. In daily life, an argument usually means a fight or a disagreement. In logic, it simply means giving reasons to prove a specific point. Let's take a simple scenario. All teachers are educated. Rita is a teacher. Therefore, Rita is educated. Here, the first two statements are giving support to the final statement. Look at this text. In logic, the reasons being given to support a claim, these first two sentences, are called premises. They are your building blocks. The final building, that final sentence you are trying to prove, is called the conclusion. Whenever you face an argument, you must ask yourself, which sentences are providing the evidence and which sentence is the final claim? Sorting that out is the mandatory first step to solving any logic puzzle. To make this foolproof on test day, I want you to physically write down this 3-step verification checklist. Step 1, find the conclusion. Step 2, find the premises. And step 3, check the pattern. We just practiced steps 1 and 2. You isolate what the speaker is trying to prove, and then you isolate the reasons they are giving you. Step 3 is where the real work happens. This requires you to look completely past the topic of the sentences to find what we call the argument form. Argument form is the hidden pattern of reasoning. To see it, we strip away the specific English words and replace them with abstract variables like P and Q. By removing the real-world facts and looking only at this abstract skeleton, you can evaluate the reasoning without being distracted by your own feelings about the topic. Let's open our first case file. Read this example. If a student studies, they pass. Ravi studied. Therefore, Ravi passed. Run steps 1 and 2. The conclusion is Ravi passed. The premises supporting it are the rule about studying and the fact that Ravi studied. Now, step 3. Look at the structure on screen. Let's translate this into our logical skeleton. It becomes if P, then Q, P, therefore Q. This specific pattern is logically correct. In formal logic, it has a specific name, modus ponens. Whenever you see this exact sequence of variables, the argument is structurally sound. It does not matter how absurd the actual topic might be, the mathematical form holds up. Now, let's look at a case that sounds factually correct to the untrained ear, but is actually a trap. If the bulb is working, the room is lit. The room is lit. Therefore, the bulb is working. Let's apply our checklist and translate this diagram into variables. It reads, if P, then Q. Q, therefore P. Notice the flaw here. Just because the expected result occurred, the room being lit, that does not mean the initial cause was the specific trigger. Someone could have opened a window to let sunlight in, or maybe there is a lit candle on the table providing the light. We call this trap affirming the consequent. Examiners use this specific pattern to find test takers who rely on real-world assumptions instead of structural math. Here is our final practice question. If I study, I will pass. I did not study. Therefore, I will not pass. Let's bypass the English completely and translate the text directly into its structural layout. If P, then Q. Not P. Therefore, not Q. Think about why this structure is a trap. The hole in the logic is this. The absence of one specific cause does not guarantee the absence of the ultimate result. The student could already know the topic, or maybe the test was incredibly simple. The positive result can still happen despite the missing cause. This trap is called denying the antecedent. Missing causes do not equal missing effects. This is exactly why the visual skeleton is your only real defense.
Look at your progress. You've taken complex paragraphs, stripped them into simple skeletons, and successfully identified 2 logical traps. This poster summarizes the rule of thumb for logic exams. Stop reading arguments as English sentences and start reading them as structural patterns. I want you to go find a past exam paper right now and immediately practice applying the 3-step verification checklist to solidify this skill. In our next video, we will investigate informal fallacies, arguments where the structure is mathematically valid, but the words themselves are manipulating the truth. Start using these patterns on your next practice test. Once you trust the structure over the sentences, the logic problems begin to solve themselves.